Hi everybody, this is a new video. I've decided to install diesel heater in my work van. It's my work van. I shifted to clear this area here. I shifted loads of stuff from the back there. It is 2016 Peugeot Boxer, and I'm planning to install it somewhere there or there. So it's basically behind driver's seat, behind the cab. Now I need to find exact spot where can I actually install that. I got my datum point, which is that strapping eyelet. The bolt goes through the floor and you can see it from underneath, on the underside, so I can use that as a datum point to measure forward or backwards and see where can I actually install the heater. Now regards the heater, this is what we got it from Amazon. It was one of the cheapest ones. I think it was just try turn this like that. So I've got 10-litre tank. I think it was like 70 quid or something. So the heater itself, all really nicely packed. Looks cool. It's like a carbon fiber imitation. We got inlet, fuel, outlet down underneath. This is where hot air is coming out, and this side is where the air is recirculating back in. Whack that back in. And then we got a box with all bits and bobs. So let's see what's in there. I already done one of these quite a few years back in my camper van. I had a Fiat Ducato camper van, basically same size as this. It was H2 and L3, and I made it with double seats in the shower, toilet, kitchen, the lot. And I had one of these heaters. But back then, they've been expensive. They've been, I think I had to get it. I think I paid like nearly 400 quid for it. Yeah, so now this is really bonus, and I just came across. Oh, that's really cheap now. Might as well put one in the work van. One of the reasons why I went for it is because it's got remote control start, apparently. So you could literally turn it on from the house in the winter time, when you got snow or ice on the windscreen, and in a few minutes it will defrost the windscreen and everything. So that's one of the main reasons why I wanted it. And also sometimes I do my paperwork in the van, so I could just put this heater on and sit in a nice comfort of warmth. Right, got wiring, supply wiring, and then cabling that goes between the pump and the unit, and between control panel and the unit itself. We got exhaust, stainless steel exhaust pipe. It's very thin, but 70 quid for the lot. You can't expect to be nothing overly substantial. We got little exhaust silencer with few little screws. You got splitter, hot air splitter. You got aluminium corrugated tube that can expand and bend. That will go from the unit into the cab. So that's another one of them. We got fuel line. We got pickup tube if you want to use our main tank. You got a whole bunch of clips, hoses, fuel filter, a lot. You got a little fuel pump. You got intake air filter. Now it's good to keep this outside just in case if you get any leakage of the fumes or anything goes back, it doesn't go into the cab. So that goes down to the floor outside. This will sit underneath the fuel tank. Comes in there, goes out there. It's very important not to keep it horizontal because it can leave the air bubble trapped in there. So keep it vertical or maximum 45, not less. Gasket for going down to the floor, and some outlet grills that you can turn these things and get them to change direction, and a fixing plate. So this plate gets fixed to underside of the unit itself, and then that plate with the unit gets bolted down to the floor. Now idea is to have it somewhere in that corner there. Then I'm gonna box it in so it doesn't get damaged by any falling tools, materials or whatever that might get to it. Also comes with instruction. It's very simple, not much to it. In addition to that, I got for power supply, because I don't want to use a vehicle battery, because I don't want to drain the battery down by just sitting and warming up. Say for example, the winter time gets cold, the van battery gets a bit weak, say Monday morning, van didn't run for a few days, and then I remote start heater for 15-20 minutes. It gets really nice and toasty in the cab. I jump in the van, try to start the engine, try to crank it, and the battery is too low to crank the van. So to avoid that, I'm going to use separate power supply. I didn't want to go into expense of getting another big battery, so I just looked around and I found this. Hello Cat, Inspector Cat. So this is basically a power transformer. You can use standard 18 volt battery. This is for DeWalt. You can get them for any other power tool brands, for Makita, Milwaukee, Bosch, whatever. So this is for DeWalt. You slide your DeWalt battery in, 18 volts. You got little fuse there. You got a little power transformer. It says input 17 to 65 volts, output is 12 volts dead on, 10 amps. So it's quite high output. And you got 12 volt output, 18 volt battery, 12 volt output, and that will feed my heater. So all I need to do, just make sure I always got fully charged battery slot into this. That's going to go on this bulkhead between cab and the back. And I got quite a few DeWalt batteries for my power tools. Got to keep them all nicely charged up, so that's not going to be a problem. Now, bit more planning what to do. The fuel tank goes somewhere here, like that, so I can, when I'm refilling the fuel in the van, there, that can be seen. I can also open the side door and fill the fuel in here. It fits nicely between these two bars. Just need to drill it and bolt it through. Now all the filter and fuel pump and everything will be positioned underneath there. That's where the battery can go as well, that power as a power source, and the fuel line can go down there. Now, to protect the fuel line, I got some 20 millimeter conduit, corrugated flexible conduit, and I'm going to run fuel line through it just in case if anything falls on it or something. The actual fuel line itself is going to be protected with this, and the cabling as well is going to be protected with that. It's going to go down on the floor there, up to the unit, and the whole thing is going to be fairly neat, I hope. So first thing is going to be now measuring and seeing where can I set the heater so it doesn't interfere with all the structure underneath the van. So now to look underneath, I'm gonna go underneath, and here we are. Now you can see we got sill, then we got long beam, so there is exhaust, then we got some cross members. Now that bolt there, that's that hook point, anchoring point for straps inside, so I can use that and measure. So hopefully I'm thinking I could get it somewhere here in this little bay, but that's only about 6 inches, 5 or 6 inches wide, and narrows down as you go towards the front. So if I can get it somewhere here, that will be perfect. I can measure up from that bolt forward, how far forward I need to go, and then mark up the top. Right, so that there, it's outlined roughly where the unit's going to go. Measured 9 inches from that point forward, and it's parallel with my sill section, and then it's 5.5 inches wide. Now I'll have to cut out this ply because that there gets really hot, and you don't want it to sit on the ply because of obvious fire reasons. So that will sit somewhere there like that. Yeah, could maybe go a bit further into, and can go a bit back as well, because as long up my outlets are within that section there, that will be good. So that will be able to fit somewhere there. Yeah, happy with that. So just spread this floor up, and one thing, once I cut out the ply, one thing really should do is do 1 or 2 small pilot holes and just double check from underneath that is all fine before I actually start drilling big holes, because you know, sometimes you measure upside down, inside out, and you get wrong measurement. So the best thing is 1 or 2 little pilot holes first, just to confirm. Hello, cat. Hello. So after careful measurements around measuring, I don't know if you can see it here. You can just about see that bit there, and there, and then there's spot welds between the floor pan and the beams underneath. So my beam underneath is there, and that's exactly, so that's the long beam and that's the little cross beam. That's exactly how I measured it from underneath. And also I got this small indentation here and a long one there, and I can see them on underside, and I can position my holes for exhaust and inlet and the fuel right next to them. So that will be like this, like this, so I can fix one there, fuel line, bolt this to underside of the heat unit, and then bolt this to the floor, like there, and there. I need to put little packer underneath, probably like a maybe M10 or something nut, just to keep it off the floor so it doesn't flex this plate. And that is pretty much the hardest bit, is to set up where you want to have a unit and to get exact positions and where to do it. Everything else is, or should be, plain sailing. Now I'm going to prepare the heater. Got 4 of these little studs. They're going to go in here. There we go, rubber gasket. Now they didn't supply washers, but I like to put some washers on. Slide them on. Now I just need to straighten up these locking points. Stop rusting. Now, in addition to the large hole, I need to do a smaller 22mm hole for my fuel line. I measured it to be all the way in the corner here. There it is. Bit of hammerite. Now I can feed this down. And fuel line. Get everything down through. Okay, just gonna check it from underneath. Now, because the plate will be sitting on these raised bits, I got shallow bits underneath, shallow sections of the floor. Now I'm gonna pump some silicone around to form bedding for this plate and hopefully to seal for any water ingress whilst driving, splashing through water and mud. So a bit less here, more on the other side. That's about that. Okay. Now I can use tech screws and fix it to the floor. And the pre-drilled ones on the back. Front side, I'm going to use just some nuts as spacers. There you go. Now, after careful measurements, I found the entry point into cab and made a pilot hole. And after a bit of struggle with blunt hole saw, hole is there. Now I can push this section from the cab towards here. And as you can see, that's where I've done it, all the way down the bottom corner. There you go. like that. So it's got three little catches actually, like these. So if you just undo that little bit, should be able to pop out. There you go. Then you got these three screw holes that you can screw the spigot on. I tried to do it without screwing, but I think I'll have to. Right, the spigot screwed on. Excess of the screws has been cut back. Now I can push from here. Yes. So one giveaway clip, and I have another one. So far this unit is installed here, electrical connection ready to go on, outlet, swoopy bend into the cab, and the fuel line has been pushed to the conduit all the way to this corner here. The air outlet in the cab, it's down in that bottom corner. Hot air will come in here and then will rise up. And underneath, what we got, well, we put on a wide angle. So that's the underside of the unit. We got exhaust coming out, fixed to the floor there. Then we got air intake. It's fixed here to a sleeve of handbrake cable. Just gonna trim these cable ties, and then we got conduit with a fuel line again clipped here and goes through the hole there. Gonna put a bit of silicone around that hole as well. You can see over spray of paint where I put that hammerite paint on. So I just need to trim these cable ties. That's the outside done. Now I can concentrate on the fuel line, fuel tank. I'm going to put it here, filter pump, and then electrical connections. Now fuel tank itself has got inside little spigot and fixing kit. So I'll have to put the spigot in. Some people put it on the side. I'm going to put it on the bottom because I don't want to have 3 or 4 liters of fuel sitting there and that I can't use. So this will have to go in there. I have to be able somehow to get it in, push it on, and then tighten the nut underneath. That's gonna be a bit tricky. Got some O-rings, and I believe one O-ring will go on the spigot itself, and then one will go on outside with this nut, and this nut has got little indentation there for O-ring to sit in, so it should work. So I got 8mm hole with this flat area here, and go straight in the middle of that. Yep. Now the tricky bit, how we're going to feed this in. got some cable. You can push cable, push it through, tie a knot, and then pull it down. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So a bit of wire from old cable. So I'm gonna get it through, tie a little knot on it. Like that, and try to fish it through. There you go, a bit of fiddle, and cable is through. This is our end, so I can push it through. Feed our nut with O-ring. I can use this wire, pull it tight. Push this cable, this wire back in, and hopefully it'll come out on the other end. Yes. Ta-da! And that's done. So now this can be fixed here between these two members. Again, we got some deck screws with big washers. It's good at doing all these fixings, it's handy. And now I think that's gonna work there. Right, the screws are a tad too short because the tank is sitting against this rib here, so I'm going to use some of my screws that are a bit longer. So these are the screws I got, so I'm going to use them. And they're a bit fatter as well. They will hold a bit better. always put an extra strap across there, fixed top and bottom, just to make it more secured. Right, the fuel tank is on. Just gonna make sure it doesn't interfere with our door handle. It's dark, but no, it does not interfere. Now conduit is fixed to the floor in the corner. Now I can connect the rest of the fuel line. So one section up on the, I need to put a bit of warmth to it. It's cold, it's around 0 now at the moment. Yes. Okay, now fuel filter can go down here, so it can be chopped. Okay. Right, let's get a couple clips on first. Right, this clip up there. One for the filter. Now the filter will go there. Use one of these. These little tech screws are getting really handy. think I'll use one of my tech screws for the pump as well. Yes. Okay. Now direction of the pump, that goes towards the unit, that goes towards the tank, and pump needs to be positioned either vertical or up to 45 or 30 degrees maximum, not horizontal, not downwards. So let's see, where can I fix that? You can see the arrow as well there of the flow. So that will be able to go here. Make sure I'm not going to hit the floor. short. Now fuel line fully secured, filter, tank, filter, pump into the unit. I can proceed with electrical connections. Now again, I'm going to use conduit wherever we can. So I've got a bit of old flex been laying around. I'm going to crimp that on and extend my pump wiring. Now cable extended in the conduit, crimped. Just going to tape it up with a cloth tape. Looks a bit neater. I'll also have to extend my neutral wire and run this fuse wire positive to my battery pack. One by one. So now I need to secure this conduit to the floor. Now power supply will go from the volt batteries. I got converter here from 18 volt to 12 volts. So now, oops, screws. Okay. These screws in because I wouldn't be able to drive them in into this casing. So use these. Got a little switch underneath, on and off. Right, I'm going to put this on. Could do it like this. Let's try. That will help dispersing the heat. Good. Now that needs to be extended and connected to power supply cable on the heater. So let's not forget to put fuse in. have to go in the conduits as well. Now, first stage of installation is done. Little control unit next to driver's seat up high, nicely accessible. And down here, all the cabling has been routed in, all connected. It's all connected down here into, it's all sleeved in. Pump, filter, fuel tank. I put an extra strap on the fuel tank with rubber padding on the corners to extra secure it, and also I swapped these parts 180 degrees because I realized the switch is much better to be on the top, and also I can press the button and easily check status of the battery. Only means battery slides downwards, it doesn't matter. This is our little transformer thing. The heatsink goes directly onto bulkhead. That will help dispersing the heat. Fuel tank wise, we got filler cap here right next to our fuel tank, so it's going to be easy to fill up. Filter, fuel pump, all connected and all routed out down to the unit. Now, as I said, this is the first stage of installation. I'm going to go now and get some diesel, at least half of the tank, so I can try it, and I'm going to test and see how long the battery will last. And then second stage will be boxing all this in, so I'm going to put ply in there, so it actually protects the heat unit from any tools or materials falling onto it. And might as well do little boxing here, so I should apply just around here so it's maybe hinged or something, so I can get to the battery but still protect all this from any tools or materials falling onto it. Yeah, so let's get some fuel. Right, got some diesel. I'm not gonna pour all of it, just in case if something goes wrong. Right, fuel's in, battery's charged, turn the power on. Let's check control panel. Right, the panel is on. Now I just need to learn from instruction what to do and how to do. Right, I just looked at the instruction. I can do manual pump, so setting button and down button in same time, and then OK. Right, I can hear the pump. Fuel is inside of the filter. Okay, I'll have to do that more. Right, I think the pressure is there now. Let's try start button again. I can hear the fan. Can't hear the pump. Battery's full. Right, there's a bit of issue with my power supply because that's the voltage, and as it's trying to start, the voltage is dropping from 12.1 down to, well, it will go below 11 and then will just shut down because of low voltage. Oh, 9 point something, and then it stops. So my power supply, it's not good enough. I need to rejiggle that. Right, next morning I'm gonna do a bit of test because last night I couldn't get it to run. The reason was it would start up procedure and everything, and as it starts heating up the glow plug on the cone, it would terminate, and it appears that this unit here, it's not man enough. Now that unit is being advertised to be 10 amp, which I would imagine 10 amp as a running with maybe 10-15%, maybe 20% of peak surge, which means you could really take for short period of time, maybe 11.5 amps. And that unit there should be about 8 to 10 amps on startup, and then should go below 1 amp, like 0.8, 0.9, 0.7. So we're really talking on very marginally. I was expecting this to be 10 nominal, maybe 11.5 peak, and that to be about 8 to 10 peak on startup, and then should run down to below 1 amp, which should really work. Now, to test it, I connected my multimeter on amps in series, so disconnected the positive lead, and I got just on standby, it's 0.06 amp power usage of that unit, which is very little. As you can see there, it is being on. So I'm going to try with my remote control. I'm going to try to start it up. Yeah, remote works. It's gone on. Amps are going. 3.5, 4. 6, 7. Oh, can't even reach 9 amps. It's 8.8 something, and then it shuts down. I'm disappointed. So that can't do 10 amps. Right. Okay. Need to rethink. Need to see if I can get another one of these units that can actually do maybe 15 or 20 amps rated. That one might be able to do. So for now, I need to do something else. So here we go again. I just rigged it up off the battery. 0.06 on standby, turn on, and it's going up. I can hear the unit. So it's hovering around 9, so it's really it's not going even 10. It's just below 9. 9. Well, I can call it 9. It's going really around 9. So this is now real time. Let's see when it's going to start dropping. I can hear pump. Now with the pump it goes to 9.4. I can hear fan now properly kicking in. I can smell fumes, like a burn fumes. That's good. Producing heat. There you go. The cone got hot and now it's dropping the amps. So now it's running on full power because obviously it's cold. It's showing 3 degrees Celsius. I mean, cab is, so it's trying to heat it up. It's drawing cold air. So I would say it goes about between 1.5 and 2 amps on running now. I can actually feel the heat coming from that side of the cab. Yep, going up to 3, or just under 3, 2.5, 3. It's trying to do full blast. With the pump, it's kicking in. Yeah, so basically I have issue with this. It's not doing 10 amps. If it does 10 amps it would work, because it will only draw 10 amps the first couple of minutes. Now I should not just disconnect it, I should really turn it off and let it cool down. So pump stopped, fan is winding down, and we got saying clear. Okay, so leave that to fully stop. Still drawing, obviously, for the fan. It's probably running glow plug as well to clear any residual fuel. Blimey, it's going to 11 amps on the shutdown. Didn't expect that. Okay. So on the startup it went to 9, but on the shutdown it went to 11. Okay, it's good to know. There you go, it's coming down, it's coming down. It's still shutting down, it's not fully. I can still hear it and it's still displaying clear on the display. I mean, this heating unit has been advertised as 5 kilowatts. And I don't know what's the output really, how to measure the output of the heat, but I can see what is drawing electrically, and you guys can see it now as well. You can plan your electrical installation around this data. Still shutting down. It's nearly 8 minutes now since startup. I would say it takes longer to shut down than actually to start it up. And it's very important not to disturb shutdown process, because that's where things go wrong on long term. There you go, display showed off and it's fully off now, and it's back down to 0.06 amps initial draw. Right, you know when people say, why you keep all the shit in the garage? Well, this is why. This is one of the lead acid batteries I had laying around, 12 volt, 24 amps. Put a voltmeter on it and it was showing something like 12.3, 12.2 volts, and so I'm going to try that, and I hooked on power for the heater, started it up, and it's been running now for 40 minutes, 50 minutes maybe, and the power on it, it's good. On the startup it dropped down to like 11.9, and then as soon as started using less and less of power, then the voltage raised up. So I can freely disconnect my voltmeter from here. That's all this wiring, that's my voltmeter hookup, so that can stay there for a moment. I'm gonna see how I'm gonna do charging. Might do split relay or just a manual switch to charge it whilst I'm driving from the main battery, from alternator, and in that case I can actually position it out in the back there and box it in with that heater, so that could actually go either there or maybe in front there. I'll have a look, but for a moment it can stay there, and because it's still sort of testing stage, there are no drips, no leaks, It's all good. It's all good. I'm happy. And inside the cab now. I mean, I wish you can feel this. It's just, it's summer. And it's quiet as well. It's good. It's good. My work van, finally it's warm. So in the morning, I can, without even coming to the van, unlocking, I can just use this little fob, turn it on, and get it all defrosted. Clear windscreen and the lot. So good, good, good. Love it. There you go, guys. I hope it helps. If anyone else wants to install these things, I hope it helps. Just don't buy this. Got it off eBay. It says 10 amps. It's not 10 amps. The maximum. Well, it shuts down on 8.8. That's when it shuts down. So I would say freely you can only use it for 6, maybe 7 amps tops on a peak. So probably on a continuous running, no more than 5 amps output on 12 volts. There you go, guys. That's it. All the best.